Apologies for those who watch the stream and don't watch on here. You missed us going over all of the parts of the instrument, but you can catch that another time. So if you're just joining, if you're just starting out, again, this ukulele or this hashki venu is the way to do it. Practice this until it just like is stuck in your head. My mom texted me, called me earlier this week to tell me that it wasn't a song that was stuck in her head. It was B flat F C. B flat F C, B flat F C. So that's the sign that you've been practicing enough. Well done, Mom. As if it's stuck in your head. It's been one of the real joys of having Mom and ukulele is that I can hock her Chinik about practicing enough now. It's like a reverse of when I was 7 with piano. Exactly.
Definitely payback.
Exactly. Okay, so let's try hashki venu. Same progression, but in a different key, meaning the chords are different. In the key of G. So now we've got our G, we've got our D, we've got our E minor, and we've got our C. So we're really doing this to get that D down. As a reminder, if you're having trouble getting that D in, if you can't get those 3 fingers next to each other all in the same fret, you want to sort of twist your wrist. Twist it the opposite way that we twist this direction for a B flat, right? Twist the opposite direction for our D so that they can kind of stack vertically on top of each other. I promise you can do this. If my big knobby fingers can play a soprano ukulele with a D, I promise that your fingers can play a D on the ukulele as well. It's that shifting, right? So bring that elbow almost up is what you're doing. It's out and up so that your wrist turns over. Turning towards the body of the ukulele to get you some room. So G, D, E minor, and C. Another reminder to folks that I have been trying out all sorts of strings, and I have the Aquila Reds on right now. They're red, and it definitely is a different sound. Definitely a different sound. So I encourage you, if you mostly like the way your ukulele sounds, to play around with different strings and different string brands. And there's something else I was going to say about that as well. Strings, brands. If you don't know where to start.
Say it again. What was the name that you just said? What did you
So the brand that I've been using on right now is called Aquila, Aquila. And they make all sorts of ukulele strings. They're probably the only true manufacturer of ukulele strings. They have a factory, and they make all sorts of unusual strings. These are the red ones that have copper in them. They have a different sound. Standard ukulele strings, and generally what most people play, are called fluorocarbon. And it's literally the same stuff as deep sea fishing line. Literally the same stuff. And in fact, most of the ukulele string manufacturers are actually just buying deep sea fishing line in various weights and using those weights, because weight refers to the thickness also, for the different strings. So if you'd like to make your ukulele sound a little different, that's a great way of doing it. Mom, I see you're unmuted. Is that on purpose?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
Going from D to E minor, any tips?
So, yeah, great question. Going from D to E minor. How do we do that? So let me make this full screen. Okay, so when you're going from D to E minor, like any chord progression, I mean, the first answer is, if that's what's hard for you, that's what you should be practicing. Just sit there and go D, E minor, D, E minor, D, right? But it is a hard one because it's 2 totally different hand positions, right? We've been talking with the D about how you need to twist your wrist out, right? And actually E minor, you need to twist your wrist in like a B flat in order to do it. So it's a radical change, right? You have your thumb across the top for a D, you bring your thumb to the side or around back or a little bit on the top for an E minor. So you're really having to rotate. So practice is the only real key here. So I like to root with my first finger and let everything else fall into place. You'll see I do it with most chords. So, right, if I'm going to a D, what I'll do is I'll put my first finger down, and then I'll let the other fingers literally kind of fall down into their spots there, right? The first finger lets me know where I am, and then I know where everything is relative to that, right? So when I play, I almost always do that. You'll see I'll move like from a, right? It's pretty quick, but you see how I'm doing that? I do that with every chord. I do it also with my D chord, right? Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. So the same thing. So what you're going to want to do is, what I would do is I would play your D, and then I would think about going to the E minor, starting with that index finger, right? So that index finger is going to stay on the 2nd fret, but it's going to move instead of from the G string to the other end of the fretboard, right? Or the other end of the strings, and to the A string, and then we're going to go on top like that. So go from the D to the index finger and ladder it down.
I have one suggestion, Daniel.
Yeah, please.
Is that if I use the D sus where I have only 2 fingers down, like if you do the whole D, then you do D sus, then you switch to E minor, I think it's a little easier because you already have that finger up. That's my opinion.
Yeah, you can play with that too. Absolutely. Nice. Okay. Let's keep going. Let's try playing this.
Show G sus. Oh, okay.
Okay, 3, 4, and G, down, up, down, up, G. Here we go. G. Here comes D. D. E minor. And C. G. D. E minor. And C. Again, now G. D. E minor. C. G, D, E minor, C. How'd that feel? Getting there? That's definitely a better response than last week. So we're going to call that positive direction here. Just to get us warmed up with our B flat, let's play this through as well. 2, 3, 4, and F, down, up, down, up, F. F. Here we go. F. Here comes C, C. D minor. B flat. F. C. D minor. B flat. One more time. F, C, D minor, B flat, and end on F. Okay, how'd that feel? Thumbs up, middle down. That's how we usually do it. Okay, we'll take up-ish is what I'm saying. Up-ish. We'll call that a success story. Okay, one of our new songs that's putting together some of these pieces for us, David Melech. One of my favorite songs from camp, personally. Okay. So I will, let me do this for everyone. I will go ahead and play through this once, invite you to sort of chord along with me and play along with me if you want to get it into your head, and then we will try playing it. I'm going to play it how I normally play it. I'm not going to play it how we will play it. I'll play it sort of at speed and with some flourishes. So my strum here is down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. David Melech, Melech Israel. David Melech, Melech Israel. David Melech, Melech Israel. Melech Israel. Chai v'kayam, o siman, siman tov. Maza, maza, maza. So that's how the song goes. Hopefully it's enough of an earworm that we kind of have it in our head now. And let's try playing this together. We'll slow it down here. Down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. So if you're having trouble getting that rhythm, remember we're strumming with our index finger. And the thing to do if you're having trouble with the rhythm is to go to the downs and the ups, right? Which is down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So just as a reminder, we want to think of our wrist as like the motor on a record player. The job of our wrist is to keep a steady tempo, right? Up and down. It sets the rhythm. It sets how fast the record is spinning. And then if we want to change our strum, what we do is we back our finger away so we're not actually hitting the strings on every one. So down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. But my wrist is still moving up and down at the same speed, right? Down, down, up, down, up, down, down. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. David Melech, Melech Israel. See, David Melech, Melech Israel. Back to D minor. David Melech, Melech Israel. C, Melech Israel. B flat, C, D minor. B flat, C, D minor. We've been pausing and doing that a few times each time we do that. So let's do that again now, as I hope you will do when you are practicing, right? What you want to do is you want to keep a steady rhythm while you're practicing like we were. And if you hit a point that you can't play in the steady rhythm because it's too complicated, too fast, whatever it is, like this B flat, C, D minor, right? Then what we want to do is we want to pause there and we want to just practice that little riff, that little chord progression until we can do it. So let's try that. B flat, C, D minor, 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 B flat, C, D, right? That's what you want to do until you can do it. Kathleen, I like the dancing going on next to you. That was very, yeah.
I got caught. My spouse is here.
We could use some interpretive dance for ukulele. I think it's totally the thing we've been waiting for this group. Okay, so we practice that over and over again until it becomes a little comfortable, right? So let's take those two lines together. Here we go. David Melech, Melech Israel. C. David Melech, Melech Israel. D minor. David Melech, Melech Israel. C. Here we go. C. Yisrael. B flat, C, D minor. B flat, C, D minor. Oh, D minor, C, and B flat. We'll do that again. Mazel, D minor, C, and B flat. F. F goes to C, goes to B flat, back to C. B flat, C, and D minor. From the top now. David Melech, Melech Israel. C. David Melech, Melech Israel. D minor, Melech, Melech Israel. C, here it comes. C, Israel. B flat, C, D minor. B flat, C, D minor. Oh, D minor, C, and B flat. Oh, D minor, C, and B flat. Here we go. F. F goes to C, goes to B flat, goes to C, B flat, C, and D minor. Okay. How'd that feel? Good-ish?
Great song.
Yeah, it's a fun one to practice. It's a little bit of a rocker.
Rabbi Daniel, I forgot when you're trying to do new chords and a strum, what are you doing? Are you just doing the chords and then up, down, up, down, up, down? Or are you just doing the strum? Like, how should you try to attack?
Yeah, great question. So the answer is that if whatever is hard for you at that moment is what you should focus on. Right? So if what you're having trouble with is the strum, then go to a down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, right? But if what you're having trouble with is the chords, then really focus in on those chords, right? So make everything else easy so that you can focus on whatever is new and hard, and then start putting the pieces back together. So if you need to just do... What'd you say?
What if they're both hard? What do you prioritize?
So, right, if they're both hard, then I would do something like this, right? I would go... David Melech, Melech, right? Like you can really go to a single strum for a chord until the chords become easy. And then once the chords are easy, you can add in the down and the up. David Melech. And once that's easy, then you can change your down and the up to a strum.
Cool. So that's the progression. You just kind of start with like one strum.
One piece at a time. Think of it as a house of cards. And, right, like if you're trying to do all of it at once, it's just going to collapse. But if instead you make sure that your foundation becomes solid, you can keep building upon it.
And then is the chord 1, 2, and 3 and 4?
Remember, almost everything we do is going to be in a 4 count.
What's the 1, 2, 3?
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Dav 2, 3, 4. Melech, Melech Yisra 2, 3, 4. C 2, 3, 4. C 2, 3, 4. C 2, 3, 4. C 7. D minor 2, 3, 4. D. Right. So most of these are getting 4 measures per chord. Is how it's going.
Because I do it like 1 and is the up. That's how I found the strum. Like that's the only thing that helps me. Like, so it's 1. There's no and, right?
So you're
It's 1.
there's always ands. Your main count is going to be your 4 count that you're doing, right? That's always what we want you to focus on. In the back of your head, you should always have that 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, right? So your down strum should always be on the number 1,
Right.
2, 3, 4, right? And the in between is what we call the and that's the up. So, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, right? The and is just a way to count the up, but the number is always going to be your down, Patty. Good question.
So what's the strum here? It's 1, 2, but with 3, it's just an and, right? Because you're going down, down, up, down, up.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. If you're having trouble with it, remember, go back to this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Making sure your downs are your numbers and your ups are your...
That's not your strum, right? You're not doing it.
Oops, sorry, Patty. I hit a button and muted you accidentally. Unmute yourself and say that again.
But you're not doing the number. You're just doing, because your strum's down, down, up, right? Or,
Yeah, so the numbering, the counting is still happening in my head, though, even when I'm not saying it out loud. So this is what's happening in my head, right? So starting off just on a C chord, down and down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So this is a good exercise, too. Try doing that. Everyone go ahead and try doing that. And emphasize the 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and... if you emphasize the 1 and the 3, it gives it that sort of train on the tracks feel, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and, right? Left a good job in the city, right? You start getting that kind of sound going on. So that's your 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 in. So once you can do that, you want that always going on in your head. And then the only difference is when you strum 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and, right? That's a different strum. If you just play the ands, you're going to get a reggae kind of sound. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and, right? So all sorts of things you can do, but it all starts with that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, right? With the real emphasis on the 1 and the focus that the downs are always the numbers and the ands are always the ups. That's really a great exercise to do at almost any level of play. You know, when I'm playing guitar.
The strum for this song is what?
The one that I am doing for this song is down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1, 2 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 and 4. So that's the strum. But all of it builds from that. I know I keep repeating it, but all of it builds just from that constant down and in the up. So another thing that you can do, if you're feeling pretty comfortable with this, right? If your strum's coming along pretty good, go ahead and play a D minor for a second, everyone. So down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down. So one thing you can start doing to add a little more rhythm and syncopation is with your left hand, the fretting hand. You can push down and then sort of keep your fingers in place, but let them come up a little bit and mute the strings instead. Right, so that kind of sound is all from my left hand, actually, coming up and down and muting as I go. Even you can't really see it because it just looks like this. Right? So again,
Rabbi Daniel?
Yep.
Are you doing that on the beat, like on the down strum, you push on the string, kind of?
I don't even know how to answer that question, unfortunately, Linda. It is entirely intuitive for me. And it's not something I...
Like that's what you're doing.
Um,
Can you just do it one more time where we can look close, please? Just for 1 second.
I can even here. I can zoom in even more than that. Let's see. Oh, it's not letting me zoom in much more. Okay, that's fine. I think I'm pushing in on the down and generally letting up immediately afterwards. I think my fingers mostly are doing a little... I know that's not very helpful. It's entirely intuitive. So play around with it, and you'll get used to it.
Daniel, does that only sound good with certain chords? Can you do that with any chord?
Yeah, right. Like, so it's not going to sound quite as good on a C chord, for instance, Amy, because you're only putting one finger down. So, right, like it ends up sounding. It does a little bit, right? Do you hear just a little bit that? But yeah, it's going to work best on chords like a B flat where you're covering everything, right? Even on the D minor where you've got that A string hanging out, it becomes like a drone. So again, just more toys to play with. That's all that's happening here. Okay.
Sort of has a Chucky sound.
Yeah, it gives it some chuck. It gives it, right, what it really is doing is adding more of a rhythm instrument to your ukulele. The rhythm guitar is really a different thing from lead guitar. And the same is true for ukulele in the sense that when you're playing a uke like we play uke, part of your goal is to be a drummer also, that you're providing that beat to people, right? Right? So absolutely. Thanks, Judy. Okay, let's try this. Again, one of my favorite songs. Very simple, other than that B minor. That B minor is a killer, but a good chord for us to learn. So you take your first finger, you put it all the way across all of those. Make sure that all of them are going. And then you take either your second or your third finger. I'm going to use my third finger, and you put it up there on the top string, on the G string, on the 2 frets up from where your finger is. And you can hear that's the same sequence as the beginning of Stairway to Heaven, actually. Or something like that, right? So anyways.
Where's your thumb, Rabbi Daniel?
What'd you say?
Where's your thumb on the B minor?
On the B minor, I am putting my thumb around the back, actually, on sort of pointed sideways. Because the thumb is gonna provide that counterbalance here. That's what you're pushing back against. So, B minor, another little bit of theory for us today. B minor is the relative minor of D. So you'll hear these terms. I've used them before: relative major, relative minor. And the idea is, so for a let's go back to C, which is our easiest. C and A minor are our relative minors. And we can actually see this. They have 2 of the 3 notes in the chord in common, right? So a C is a C, E, and a G. And an A minor is an A, C, and an E. So you can even see this physically on a ukulele. If you play a C right there, right? You can see that those 2 middle strings are open, right? And then if we switch to an A minor, those 2 middle strings still remain open. Which is to say that 2 of the notes are going to be the same and only 1 of the notes is changing. It's what we call the relative minor or the relative major. If you liked how we counted better, the minor is always going to be the 6th chord. So if you're in the key of C, C, D, E, F, G, A is your 6th chord. A minor is going to be your relative minor. In the key of G, it's going to be E minor. And in the key of D, it's going to be B minor. If that was totally like Sanskrit to you, don't worry about it. But you can talk to Hilary Elfenbein, who majored in Sanskrit, I guess, and she can help. But again, just a little bit of theory that hopefully begins to stick to us and helps us with our thinking as we go. So what we've got here in this song, All I Want Is You, is a really simple progression. We've got the D to the G. That's the 1 to the 4. D, E, F, G, right? 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4. And then what's going to happen is we're just going to swap that 1, the D chord, for our 6th chord, for the B minor. So then we've got 6, 4, 6, 4. And that's what swaps out, and that's how it changes. Very, very simple, amongst the most simple chord progressions that you will find. Let's go ahead and try playing it. And then, of course, we have our little riff at the end, playing with our suspensions, D sus and G sus. Okay. Down, down, up, down, up, G, down, up. Just get ready to switch back and forth. D, down, up, down, up, G, down, up, down, up, D, down, up, down, up, G. Keep doing that. D, G, D, G. Okay, now we're going to go to the B minor. Okay, think about it. That index finger is going to go across the second fret, and that third finger is going to go two frets up. B minor. Here we go. B minor, down, up. Now to G. Back to the B minor. We're just going to go back and forth between B minor and G for a minute. G. Go back to the B minor. Keep doing it. B minor and G. Again. B minor and G. One more time. B minor and G. Now go back to the D. There we go. D. Now G. D. Now try that riff if you want. Again, all we're doing with that riff is we're taking our D and we're playing with a D and a D sus2, meaning we're lifting up our ring finger. And then on the G, we're doing the same thing, except we're lifting up our middle finger. So you don't have to do it exactly like me, but when you hit that riff, you should be playing around with those susses. And I encourage you to play with those suspended chords, sus, suspended chord, same thing, when we're playing the rest of the song too. Okay, any questions before we jump in? Yeah, Mom.
On the B minor, I can't get my ring finger and without raising my index finger.
You can try your middle finger if it's easier. You can try your pinky. You could try your pinky and your ring finger if you need. I can't see you playing it though. Will you tilt your camera down? Okay, here. Bring your index finger up more so it's hanging off the top of the second fret. Now try.
Okay.
Try putting that thumb. I know I normally say to bring it around top, but instead put it around back like this. Look how my thumb is for that chord, for the B minor.
Okay, perfect.
There you go. So bring the finger up more, bring the thumb around back, and hopefully that'll help. I saw a thumbs up from Patty, so that was a helpful question for lots of folks. Okay, let's try playing this song. Here we go now. Down, down, up, down, up. Okay, from the top, here we go. You'd say, you G, back to the D. Diamonds on a ring of G. You say, now we're on the D to the G, U G. You D to remain on G. Here comes the B minor, but all the B minors, we G. From the B minor to the G. Now D, G, when D. I, G, here comes the riff, is D. Again, D. Now G, from the top. You say, you G. Diamonds on a ring of G. You D. You G. To remain on G. Here comes the B minor, but all the B minors, we G. From the B minor to the G, when D, I, G, is riff. Again, D, U, G. Diamonds on a ring of gold. Second line, here we go. D, you say you want promises we make, from the cradle to the grave, when all I want is you. All I want is you. Okay, how did that feel, everyone?
I have a question. The tablature down there,
Yep.
I don't know how to apply it to what we're doing. Or should I be thinking about it?
Yeah. So let me.
I guess that's D sus, whatever.
So here, let me show you this.
D sus D. I guess that's what it is.
So this is a D dash D dash DS,
D sus, yeah.
right? Or we'll just call it an S for a sus, right? D sus, D sus, right? So you can look at the E string and you see how it goes 220 2020.
Yeah.
That's the same thing as what we got above now. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then we're going to do the exact same thing for the next one, which is going to be G, sus, sus, G. So if that's more helpful,
Do you play it exactly like that, or do you just sort of do it to it?
you know, somewhere in the middle between those two, Linda. D sus, D sus, D sus, G sus, sus, G, D sus, D sus, D sus, G sus, sus, G. Right, and then when you're in a faster strum, it just kind of comes on its own. And a lot of what's getting that sound that I'm playing, if you're noticing it sounds just a little different than what you're doing, is I'm doing hammer-ons, is what they're called, which basically means you're going to strum and then put the finger down. So, right, do you hear that? How I strum and then put the finger down? And it just creates a different kind of sound. I don't understand what you're asking.
You're pressing in B minor. You're using your finger to flatten the strings, right?
Yep.
Whereas I don't get a sound when I do that.
So then you're not pushing hard enough, right? So first you can start by just flattening the strings, and then you want to be able to hear each string. And then you put down the other finger to change just that note. You can even do it like a little walk down thing. It sounds kind of cool. I actually think we stumbled into another U2 song there. I'm pretty sure that's Sunday Bloody Sunday. Have you heard the news today? I I can't close my eyes and make it go away. Yep. Anyways, there you go. Hopefully that helps. See everyone next week. And we'll keep adding in more songs, but I feel like we actually made good progress today.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank
It
you.
was fun. Hey, Daniel, can I plug in? I don't know if we're ready for it, but down the line for like maybe just one finger picking strum.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. If you want to practice, the real key is that each finger gets assigned a string and always plays that string. So the thumb, the first, the second, and the third, right? Like, so it goes like that. And that finger is always in charge of that string. So then you're just doing patterns.